welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in to tonight's show. I am your host, Tina R. Dawson, and the owner of True Blue Designs. And it is truly an honor to be able to spotlight tonight's awesome guest. Make sure you click the like button, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, and feel free to share and let everybody know that True Blue Designs is live. Oh, also, you can follow us on Instagram at True Blue Designs. Now, on the first segment that we had, we discussed how True Blue Designs was created and how we got from here to here. And I'm just going to give you, just revisit a little bit of that information. So we were created in 2009. And then in 2014, we revised the name and launched the company. And as of today, we have been in business for over 11 plus years. And now we're focusing on expanding our brand into various areas, such as the show. So thank you so much for following us. And thank you so much for being a part. Now, I have many things that I live by, quotes. But one quote that I live by is knowledge is power, but applied knowledge brings transformation. And I'll say that again. Knowledge is power, but applied knowledge brings transformation. And because of this belief, I want to present clients to you weekly that are filled with knowledge that could aid in your personal and business transformation. And with further ado, let me introduce to you tonight's guest. Miss Evelyn Rosier is the president and CEO of Top Solutions Group, LLC. She is a seasoned CPA, CGMA, and PMP with over 40 years experience. She is an active member of the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Georgia Society of CPAs. She currently serves on the board of directors of the Georgia Society of CPAs, as well as the co-chair of their Diversity and Inclusion Committee. Her firm has a proven track record of successfully completing and or contributing many finance, accounting, and IT related projects, such as system implementations, business process reengineering, SOX compliance and documentation, revenue recognition, functional financial business analyst, as well as education and training. Top Solution Group's team of qualified professionals have exceptional planning, organizational, and problem-solving skills. Collectively, these qualities have enabled them to be a value-added resource to an organization's productivity, efficiency, and profitability. Help me with a warm welcome. Introduce to you Evelyn Rosier.
Hey, everybody.
Hello, Evelyn.
Hey, good to see you.
Good
How's
to
it
see
going?
you. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy holidays to you as well and to the audience.
How's the family?
Every
Think you faded out on me. Can you hear me? Evelyn? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You can hear me
Back?
yeah, I can hear you now. You're frozen.
Well, the family well. You ready for the holiday?
Ready for the holidays? We have the little technical difficulties. Everybody bear with us. Bear with us. Well, on the first episode of our Wednesday Spotlight, we interviewed Reggie Bell. And during that interview, we were discussing the difference between a CPA, an accountant, and a bookkeeper. And I had talked about Evelyn on during that segment because I was telling him that I ended up finding out real firsthand what the difference was. And I was introduced to her because I went to an accountant to get my taxes done for that year. And we ended up getting audited, and she charged me for whatever the audit problem was. She had to charge me more money to fix the audit, and it really didn't sit well with me. So I was telling the story how I met you, Evelyn.
Okay, go ahead.
So I was telling them that I went to I went to an accountant, and I ended up getting audited, and she didn't tell me really what the audit was. She just charged me more money to fix the audit. And then it didn't really sit well with me. And so somebody that I know, we still can't figure out of the few of us that come to you, who was the one that introduced who to you. But somebody introduced me to you, and you researched it, and you were able to find out that the audit was actually her mistake, and that she had charged me for her mistake. And thus, started my friendship with you. And I've been with you ever since. And then I told them that the next year you did my taxes, and I brought you a box. And so you called and told me that my taxes were done, and to come get them, and to come get that box. And when you handed me the bill, I lost my breath and almost choked. And you told me, you said, let me help you out. You said, the more I have to do, the more you pay.
Right.
The less I have to do, the less you pay. And I told him, I said, I've never seen a bill like that since, because ever since then you forced me to be organized.
That's right.
So we were talking about how I found, how I figured out the difference between a CPA, an accountant, and a bookkeeper. So now that we're on that topic,
okay,
can you explain a little bit the difference between the three?
Okay, so and thank you, Tina. And it has been many years since we first became teammates, as I call it. And you are definitely a wonderful client. That first experience, it was a shock to you, but sometimes shock therapy is what it takes. And you are now one of my favorite clients. You're awesome. So.
Thank you.
So just to kind of bring a little bit of clarity, accountants generally, we're responsible for recording transactions and interpreting those financial records for a client. Accountants are also responsible for more broader things within a business. So when you talk about the difference between a bookkeeper, an accountant, and a CPA, we're all accountants, but it's just the levels of expertise that we have. So a bookkeeper will typically, be a base level. They can record transactions. Typically, they're non-degreed, but it doesn't mean that they don't have education beyond high school. It's just that they have not attained a bachelor's degree. So once you've obtained a bachelor's degree, generally, particularly if you've got your bachelor's degree in accounting, then you're considered an accountant, available for staff accountant work. So you go a little bit beyond just recording transactions, but learning how to interpret those transactions to assist whoever you're doing, whatever business, or even if it's a sole proprietor, whoever you're doing the work for, you're able to help them be more knowledgeable about what those financial statements mean. Then you have the next tier, because you've got the bookkeeper, and now you have an accountant. All accountants can be bookkeepers, but all bookkeepers can't be accountants.
Yeah.
But then you've got the next level of expertise, which would be a CPA, when you're talking about those three tiers. So a CPA is also an accountant, but not all accountants are CPAs. So once you get to the level where you've attained your bachelor's degree, you're also required to take a test, the state board exam. and you also have to meet an experience requirement. So that's what sets a CPA apart, is because they have a broader spectrum of knowledge, and it's been tested to by virtue of the fact that they've taken the test, passed the test, and actually has obtained a state license to practice as a CPA. So a CPA can do a much more broader range of accounting work and be more of a participant for businesses and be an aid to businesses in terms of making decisions. And I might add too that CPAs can perform services that non-CPAs cannot perform, such as audits of public companies.
Okay. Okay. And I know when we interviewed the first segment that we did, we interviewed the accountant slash bookkeeper. He was stating that CPAs and EAs can actually talk to the IRS on your behalf versus some of the other ones can't. He was talking about certain things like that. Can you just touch a little bit on that?
Yeah, that's true. So an enrolled agent specializes in tax work. So therefore, they are a higher level of representative where they do have the authority to represent a client in front of the IRS. The difference between a CPA and an enrolled agent is that the enrolled agent is focused primarily on taxes, the tax arena, whereas a CPA can do that as well as other things.
Okay. Okay. So that is, look, so that sums that one up.
Yeah, so I mean, an enrolled agent is a great credential to have, but you're kind of confined to just the tax industry.
Okay. Okay. So the EAs basically deal with tax.
Yes, ma'am.
Tax items. Okay.
Yes.
Well, at this time, tell the audience a little bit about yourself. I was going to start with that question, but tell them I read some of your bio, but if there's other things that you want to share.
Okay, yeah, certainly. Well, I have to first start out with I've been in the accounting profession for 40 years, and it all started when I was born and raised in Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn, New York. Yeah, Bed-Stuy, do or die. And I decided at the age of 13 that I wanted to become a CPA, believe it or not.
Wow.
At the time, I didn't know what it was, but thank God that, he blessed me and guided me. I graduated from high school, Brooklyn Tech High School, obtained my bachelor's degree from Pace University in New York City. And after that, I came to Georgia, came to Atlanta, Georgia, and it's been the best place for me. I obtained my CPA certification here. I passed the CPA exam, and I got the predominant work experience required to meet the qualifications as a CPA here in Georgia. I think I obtained that back in 1995, maybe, or 91, somewhere around that time. And I've been doing it ever since. I started my own business in 1997. I guess I had a life-changing event. I got divorced. I had my 1-year-old, my 3-year-old, and I decided, let's just go for the whole thing.
That's right.
I started my business, and to this day, thank God that they're grown now. I got an attorney and a future CPA, and for the last 40 years, the only job I ever had was McDonald's. And I guess, and after that, all my other jobs have been in the accounting profession. So when I say I love what I do, I love what I do. I've seen the profession evolve over the last 40 years. So, we used to be CPAs or accountants were considered bean counters back then, but now we grow the beans.
That's right. That's right. Now, how long have you been in Georgia?
30 plus years now, 33 years now. I've been in Georgia.
That's amazing to me because you've been here for 30 plus years and you have not lost your accent.
Never gonna lose it. I'm gonna always be I'm gonna always be a sweet apple as opposed to a Georgia peach.
That was a good one. Now, Evelyn, you left off something when you were talking about yourself, and I'm just going to input this because this particular subject makes you smile and it makes you beam. Now, you tell everybody, I know that's the baby in the background.
It really is. Yes. So, I did leave that part off because I didn't want to gloat too much, but in addition to having a fabulous son and daughter, I've got a granddaughter. She's 15 months old.
Yeah.
And she is the thing that makes me smile. She's awesome. Yeah. And grandparenting is the best part of the life cycle for those of you who don't know yet.
experience that yet.
Not yet, not yet, not too soon.
Now, the other thing that makes you beam is that you're an avid golfer. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay. I am an avid golfer, still somewhat of a novice, but I'm one of those people that once I get involved in something, I dive in deep, and I'm in my fifth year. So as with most golfers, I'm still struggling, but nobody has a better time than I do when I'm out there. I'm not the best golfer, but I have the most fun.
Now that we're on the subject about golfing, one of the
Okay.
projects that you came to me to do for you or to work with you on was branding,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
and we talked about that, and you were able to get some apparel done, and you got some golf club covers done, and you also put your company on your golf bag. So can you explain to the viewers why you felt as a business owner that branding was so important to you?
Well, when you're out and about amongst people, and I mean, attend so many different networking sessions, whether they're golf tournaments for charity or wherever, people tend to recognize the name and words and pictures versus the person. And the more I can get my brand out there, and I'll give you an example of it if you can see here, got Miss Tina to put that up for me. But the more people see that, the more they recognize Top Solutions Group. So they will see that over and over and over. And they have a tendency to recognize that as soon as they said, oh, that's the Top Solutions lady. They may not remember
Yeah,
my name necessarily, but they know she's the business advisor. You know, she's
right.
the CPA, she's the tax person. So branding, I try to stay consistent because even with my cards, any pamphlets or anything that I use, it starts with my logo and whatever builds out from there. And actually, Miss Tina taught me that. She brought that to me when she first introduced me to what she was doing. I was like, oh, I've got to do that. And they turned out gorgeous. That's actually,
Thank
I've given some of the golf shirts away as gifts to some of my clients.
Really?
Yes.
That is awesome.
Yes.
Well, let me just
Yes.
take time out to say thank you. I had so much fun working with you on that project.
You did an awesome job.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, I want to touch back on some of your designations. In the bio, I read that you were a CGMA and a PMP. Can you
Mhm.
discuss a little bit about the meaning and the importance of those designations?
Okay, so a CGMA is a Chartered Global Management Accountant.
Oh,
So what a Chartered Global Management is, so generally speaking, CPAs are known as auditors and tax people. Well,
okay.
that's old.
Mhm.
That's not what we are anymore. Like I said previously, we now grow the bank, so we have become much more valuable to an organization than just auditing their financial statements and doing their tax prep work. We help them throughout the course of the year in developing strategies, management, operations, finance. So the CGMA just signifies that you have additional expertise in being a global management accountant. It's very similar to a CMA, which is a certified management accountant, but
Okay.
you have to be a CPA in order to be a CGMA. You don't have to be a CPA to be a CMA.
Okay. Okay. And
The
and what type of clientele or clients does your firm work with? Is it mainly corporations or is it small businesses? Can you elaborate on that?
Well, Top Solutions Group is a project management and business advisory consulting firm. And we specialize in accounting and business consulting solutions for businesses of all size.
Okay.
So, considering that we use the integration of technology and personal expertise as professional services, we put ourselves in a position to help a company of any size in any industry. So,
Mhm.
whether you're a startup business or you're a Fortune 500 company, I want to be the solution to what your business needs are.
Okay. Now, when someone is looking to hire a CPA, what things should we look for? Or what questions should we ask when we're interviewing CPAs?
Well, I think the first thing that you want to do is have some kind of idea of what you need from the service provider, meaning the bookkeeper, the accountant, or the CPA. Sometimes you No, sometimes you don't know. But if you at least know what your problem is, you know what kind of answer you're looking for. If again going back to the roles of the bookkeeper, the accountant, and the CPA, if you have an idea of what you need help with, then you can filter it down to, do I just need somebody to record my transactions? Or you know you need a bookkeeper. If you need something beyond that, at a minimum, you're going to want an accountant, somebody who has a little bit more expertise, broader knowledge level. But if you need something bigger than that, then you got to step it up to a CPA. A CPA should be able, and I'll say this over and over, all CPAs are not created equal. So just because they have the three letters doesn't mean that they have all the skills that you require for your particular situation. It's not a one size fit all. You have to get somebody. If you go to the doctor, you're not going to go to a cardiologist for your feet.
Right.
So you need to find the right CPA for the level of service that you need. So I would say, first and foremost, you might want to get an assessment of what your real problem is. Sometimes I find with clients that they think their problem is one thing, but if they have a skilled enough and a valuable enough person with the expertise, they may be able to assist them in funneling down and fine tuning what their real problem is, so they're not paying for something that's not going to create the value that they expected.
Okay, that's good. The next question I want to ask is, now there are a lot of accounting softwares out there. I mean, there's QuickBooks, Quicken, Peachtree Accounting, and those are only three I know, and I know there's a lot more than that. But for a small business owner or any business size, is there a particular software that you would prefer, and that may be the easiest for maybe just people starting off trying to do their own accounting? Is there one that you prefer that may be the easiest for us to learn?
Yeah, definitely. And let me just say this: Quicken is not an accounting software.
I found that out.
Quicken is a personal tool that will enable you to do something similar to what QuickBooks does. Like, so you have Quicken for personal stuff, and it'll help you keep everything organized, but it's not an accounting software. Then you got QuickBooks, which is what I recommend to most new businesses, small businesses, and they're a dynamic tool. I think QuickBooks is very easy for the layman to be able to utilize. You don't have to be an accountant. You just have to know that you have to record your transactions, and it's set up where it's great for the layman. And it can take you from a sole proprietor to a mid-sized business. QuickBooks is a very dynamic tool as long as you know how to use it. And if you don't know how to use it and you have a bookkeeper, you have some bookkeepers and accountants that are specialists in QuickBooks, a QuickBook advisor. When you grow beyond QuickBooks, my recommendation would be NetSuite, which is a very, very dynamic small business ERP, enterprise resource planning system that will enable you to have all of the various compartments of an accounting system, HR, accounts receivable, and all those things that become much, much broader as your business grows. So you go from QuickBooks to a NetSuite, and then for the larger companies, obviously, you're looking at an Oracle ERP or PeopleSoft or something along those lines.
Okay, I was I was telling them on the first segment that I had Quicken, and
Yeah,
you had been fussing with me, Miss Tina. I think you really need to get QuickBooks. And I ended up having an opportunity where somebody was giving me, they gave me an order, and it was hair shy of $10,000. And so I asked the guy, well, how am I gonna bill you? And he said, no, he said, how are you gonna send the invoice?
I'm
And I
laughing because I remember. I'm laughing because I remember this.
I said, well, just have them to call me over the phone. And he said, Tina, now this is a multi-million dollar company. They don't know you. Then I said, well, they can pay me through PayPal. He was like, Tina, you don't understand. So he gave me three words and he hung up on me. And he told me to figure it out. So I had QuickBooks Mobile. I had what I needed in my hand, Evelyn, but I
Right.
didn't understand the value of it because I had the QuickBooks attached to my website,
Okay.
and I had the QuickBooks mobile, and I didn't understand really what I had. So it's either
Right.
you're working the business or the business is working you. Okay, so the business was working me. And so I called QuickBooks, and in less than 15, around 15 minutes,
Right.
that lady tied what I already had, gave me QuickBooks Online, gave me a tutorial on how to do the invoice, and I got that order. And that was a huge lesson to me. And then
Absolutely.
when I was talking to Regis, Reggie Bell, that's I call him Regis, I was telling him that you had been fussing at me for years to drop quick, and I really needed
Right.
QuickBooks. But now I understand, Evelyn, why
Right.
you were saying it. Now I
Exactly.
now
Yeah, QuickBooks will get the job done for you in a much more efficient manner, and then that's the thing. I mean, that's what it's all about when you talk about profitability. It's not just about your revenues exceeding your expenses, but you also want to make the best use of your time. Your time is one of your most valuable resources, is what I tell people. Your time and your people. So you don't want to waste time doing something that you can buy a system to do it for you. You're going to put forth the same effort. So Quicken will help you compile data, but you still have to do a whole lot of work to get it into a financial statement format at the end of the year to take to your tax preparer.
yeah
Because if not, remember, your tax preparer is going to charge you extra if they have to do the accounting work. So QuickBooks will do all of that for you because
yeah
you're literally
yeah
collecting the data. It's just a matter now what you're going to put it into so that it can spit out what you need. And that's the thing. I recommend QuickBooks to most small businesses because it's more dynamic than the average Joe is going to need, and it'll enable you to continue to grow with it.
yeah. The other thing that you taught me was garbage in, garbage out,
That's
right?
right.
And you taught me that if I take the time out through the year to make sure that I input the information into my software correctly, then at the end of the year, I can just press a button, print a
Yeah,
report, fill out the form that you send me, and then we're all good. And
that's right.
it just cuts down on time, and it just makes you so much more efficient.
That's right.
Yeah. So I listened with part of it.
Well, you put forth a great effort. I tell you, you are definitely one of my favorite clients. And I love the fact that you're always striving to be your best you. You know, you never stop. And that's really what it's all about. I'm one of my areas of specialization is process improvement. I'm
Yeah.
always looking for ways to do things better and more efficient. And that's what you have to do as a even on a personal side. You want to strive to be your best and be better tomorrow than you were today. But those types of things will enable your business to be always ready,
Yeah.
as long as you're doing things to push yourself to the next level.
And I want to talk to you about this too. I had, I recently had an aha moment when I had a one-on-one with Mr. Bell, and we were going over QuickBooks.
Okay.
And what I realized is that, when you're a sole proprietor and it's only you, you're just a one person show trying to work a business. I think it's only God's grace and mercy, Evelyn, that I have lasted as long as I have, just being by myself.
Hmm.
Because when you do that, something goes lacking, right? And
Right.
and we talked about how really, in order for you to scale and grow your business, you got to keep your eye on your money. And a lot of times when it's just you, something goes lacking. A lot of times, being really efficient in those practices that really will help you to grow your money is
Right.
where you fall short at, right? And we were talking about how, you got to let go to grow, right? You got to let go of doing some of the things as a small business owner. You have to hire people in
Right.
and trust them so that you can grow, right?
Correct.
Why I need a bookkeeper because I
Correct.
can't. I just realized, Evelyn, I can't do it all. Can you talk a little bit to business, mainly small business owners, uh,
Okay.
how important it is to partner with a CPA, when you need that, and partner with a bookkeeper when you need that, so that you can really grow and scale your business?
Well, that's an excellent question, because a lot of times people think they're saving money when they
Yep.
do it themselves. But you'll hear me talk a lot about cost, dollars, and value. They're different things. So what you pay for something isn't necessarily what that value is to you. So if you're expending all of your time doing tasks that are unrelated to the operational side of your business, when you could pay somebody to do it, you're really hurting your business, and you're not going to attain the growth that you would be, because you're the operations person. You're the doer. You're the brains behind whatever your primary product or service is. You shouldn't be trying to do bookkeeping or any other task that you can delegate or sell or have someone else do for you. You shouldn't be doing that, because I'm about cost versus benefits. If I can pay you $50 to do something that's going to take me 4 hours, well, I value my time, more than $12.50 an hour in terms of what I do for my business. So I break it down like that. If I can get a bookkeeper and I can have that bookkeeper record my transactions for me for whatever it's going to cost a month, it really depends on how many transactions you have is the way some people bill. But it might cost you $400 a month, $200 a month, or $1,000 a month, whatever it is. You've got to measure that against what it would be taken away from how you value yourself in your business, because I place a dollar value on my time.
Right.
So if I'm going to say cut the lawn, well, it might be relaxing for me to cut the lawn, but it'll take me 6 hours to do the lawn. When I can pay the lawn care service and they get it done in 30 minutes, and whatever I paid them, it's worth it, because me spending 6 hours is 6 hours that I can't bill somebody else.
Exactly.
So you have to make good decisions about how you want to utilize your time in your business. And sometimes the cheap comes out to be very expensive. So I try to weigh the cost versus the benefits. Either what am I giving up when I use my time for something else versus using it in the area of expertise of servicing my clients. So if you need a bookkeeper, you get a bookkeeper. Don't try to do your taxes yourself, because in the end, it's going to come back and bite you. It's going to cost you more than if you had a paid professional doing it. If you have a special project, maybe you should service that out to someone who specializes in doing that. So those are the kind of business decisions you have to make. You can't do it all, particularly as a small business. But I will say this too, as a small business, that sometimes you have to do it yourself until you get there, until you get to the point where you can afford to pay other people to do it. You have to do it yourself. But the thing you'll take away from that is you will learn so much more about being a business owner and doing it yourself, that it will enable your business to grow to the point where you can pay other people to do some of those things for you.
Yep. Yep. I totally agree. I totally agree. And like I said, been doing it all myself for 11 years, 11 plus years. And I has to be God's grace and mercy, because now I don't understand how it all got how it all got done. And I'm gonna be honest with you. The one thing, recently I have been spinning my wheels and I have been extremely frustrated. And I could not figure out why. I couldn't figure it out. And then, trying to run the business and do the things that I could hand off to somebody else
Right.
has really stifled my ability to be creative. My creative ability has been stifled because my focus has been in various different areas, right?
Right.
And now that I've hired a bookkeeper, that's one less thing that I have to think, really think about. And now the one good thing that I learned is that you don't give a bookkeeper access to your accounts. You give them access to the information that's in your accounts. And
Correct.
that's what QuickBooks does. And I
Right.
think that, some people have trust issues, and then some people just don't want to let go. But you got to let go to grow. And that's where I'm at. You got to let
Right.
go to grow.
And you do. And you made a good point there, because part of the success of your business is your ability to be creative. You can't be creative when you're taxing yourself out with doing things that you don't enjoy. I love my work, so it's never like work for me.
Right.
I don't love some of the other things that I have to do. So I have to let those things go because it takes me too much time to do them. And you do have to understand what you can delegate to someone else versus, or the level of expertise that that person has, versus something that you shouldn't delegate to anybody that you pass on things to. So like you said, if you want to have a bookkeeper, you can't expect to give the bookkeeper responsibilities beyond those that you hired him for. So
That's right.
you can't expect your bookkeeper to be able to answer broad questions that you might need in terms of preparing for a bank loan interview. You know, those kind of things. You have to understand the capabilities of the people that you delegate stuff to. But you definitely can't continue to do it on your own, and you create your best work when you're doing what you're in business to do.
Right. Right. I was talking to some other small business owners, and when the stimulus package came out, and the help, the relief that the government was giving, um, a lot of them realized that their financial, I'm gonna say financial foundation,
Right,
was extremely important, because a lot of the information, well, a lot of the things that they had to compile in
right,
order to apply, they realized that they didn't have their foundation together. They didn't have
right,
software. They didn't have, and a lot of people thought, I'm a small business owner. They have they have this
right.
money over here. I'm going to be able to get it. And they didn't realize that you have to put together a package to present to them in order for them to see if you're qualified. Can you speak just a little bit on that, and why it is important for you to have financial software?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up as well, because I encountered that with a lot of small businesses, sole proprietors. They're calling me up saying, "Hey, I'm trying to do this and that." Well, there's two sides to every cost versus benefit, right? So sole proprietors that have been going along and just kind of making money and spending money, making money and spending money. Well, you're not conducting yourself the way the IRS considers a business to conduct themselves. And it all comes out in WAR. So when it comes to opportunities like getting this kind of money, they're not just going to give it to you. And you'll hear me say this a lot, based on what you say with your flapping gums. It doesn't mean anything. If you don't have financial records, whether you're going for a bank loan, whether you're trying to do a business plan, no matter trying to get investors, trying to get PPP money, they
Yes.
don't want to hear the numbers, the financial statements do the talking. The numbers tell the story. And if you can't put together your financial records, and it doesn't always have to be in QuickBooks, because you could just be a small service, or service company, or sell things here and there, but you don't necessarily have to have a accounting system, but you have to compile your records,
Right.
which is all that accounting system does. You can compile your data on an Excel spreadsheet, but you need to be able to identify what your revenues are, and that's the money that you're bringing in, what your expenses are, that's the expenses that you incurred, the money that you spent relative to the business. And
Right.
then the net of those two would be your net income. And you can list those on a basic sheet of paper, and that would be acceptable. Now, where the checks and balances come in, they're going to also compare that to the Schedule C, if you're a sole proprietor, that you filed with the IRS. So what a lot of small businesses don't understand, which is why they don't maintain good books and records, because they're so busy trying to cheat on the tax side at times, that when it comes down to the real deal, they haven't done the business to back up what they were saying.
Right.
And you're going to get caught, unfortunately. You're
Right.
going to get caught at some point, whether it's by the IRS, or you've been so busy trying not to pay taxes, so you've been reporting losses, and now it's time for you to get a loan, and they want to see what your track record is, and all you've shown is losses.
Yeah.
So it's important on either side. It keeps you straight, and there's a way to legitimately keep your books and records and still not pay all your money to the IRS. You just want to be honest. And it's all about having people to help you understand the way the tax law works, and helping you to find those loopholes that you're entitled to. There's
Right.
many things out there that you're entitled to, where if you conduct your business right and maintain your books and records right, you can pay as little taxes as possible. Right, Miss Tina?
Yes, you can. And
I will walk.
Amen.
Yeah, I will walk a client through all day in the gray area, and there's plenty of gray area, but I'm going to keep you. I'm never going to put my clients in a position that I wouldn't take for myself.
That's
And there's
right.
plenty of opportunities there to be successful and pay the minimum tax that you can possibly pay.
That's right. Now, if the viewers out there have any questions for Evelyn, go ahead and put your questions in the comments. We want to make sure that we have a time. We separate time out so that you can ask your questions for Evelyn. So go ahead and put your questions in the comment section, and we'll there you go. Put your questions in the comment section.
And I'm going to say this while we're waiting on those questions. If there are any small businesses out there, whether you're sole proprietor, although our president is kind of has put a little wrench in the what I call the PPP2 money. Make sure you guys are getting ready to act whenever that's passed. Get out there and apply for it. You could apply for it even if you received a loan previously in round one. You're entitled to file again in round two, as long as you've used the money or intend to have used the money by the time you apply again. So if you were eligible for the first time, you're more than likely going to be eligible the second time, as long as you have 300 or fewer employees. That's the only caveat for the second time filers. The first time filers could still meet the threshold of the 500 employee. But be ready. Have your books and records ready.
Okay. Yep. You're absolutely right. That goes back to what you were just saying, is so that you can take advantage of the opportunities when they come. My
Yes,
mother used to always say, what she say, be ready so you don't have to get ready, or
that's
something
right.
like
That's
that.
right. And you should. And if
Stay
you
ready. Stay
if
ready.
you're properly organized, though, which is what it takes to be a successful business owner. And I'm not saying you have to be anal, but you have to have some order.
Right.
If you're organized, you're gonna be ready. You might need a little bit of help tidying up,
Right.
but if you have the data in a fashion that it can be compiled into molded into a financial statement, then you're ready. It may take a little bit more work if you don't keep yourself real organized, but if you have the data, you can get ready. If you don't have the data,
That's right. You have to have the data.
you have to have the data.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, when you said, I was going to ask you another quick question. Okay, it says we have one question. Do you think the coronavirus will impact anything with filing taxes this year?
So COVID will have an impact on taxes. So if you receive money in the PPP, there's going to be a reconciliation process there. So there will be a tax effect on that. But do you mean in terms of delaying the filing of the taxes, or because that question can go any number of ways?
It says, will we be forgiven for more or less?
Be forgiven. So you will be forgiven based on your ability to certify your use of those funds.
Okay.
So, when you get the loan, they might have asked you for certain information to make you eligible to apply for 2.5 months of payroll expenses. Then they said they expanded it out a little bit more versus the 75% of the money had to be spent on payroll. They expanded the weeks and said, well, we'll let you spend just 60%, a minimum of 60%, and use the money for other stuff. But it still had to be qualifying, like either mortgage interest, rent, lease payments, utilities. As long as you use the money for those things, it's going to be 100% forgivable. Okay, so it'll be forgivable, but you'll have to certify that through a forgiveness application. So they gave you the money, and now you've got to certify that that's what you used it for. And I think for the most part, you need to have that done by December 31st. So if you need help with that, you know where to find me. In terms of will it be forgiven? Well, that depends on how much you can certify its use.
Okay.
Will it be taxable? Right now, the latest regulation we got on that is that it won't be. So they had decided a long time ago that the forgivable portion, or the loan itself is not going to be taxable. Then there was a question that the CPA Association, the industry, fought to say, well, can we also deduct those expenses? The answer was initially no, but they advocated enough that now the IRS says, yes, you can still deduct the expenses, which I'm really surprised because that's kind of double dipping, but I'm all
Yeah,
for it.
yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
in terms of its tax effect, I don't know if I specifically answered, that person's question, but it will have a tax effect, but it may not be a bad tax effect.
Okay. What about the stimulus payments that most households receive from the government? Do we have to claim that money as income?
Again, based on what I'm seeing so far, there's going to be a reconciliation process, and you won't have to pay it back. But for those who have not received theirs and are due, you'll get it back on your tax return.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's how they're talking about doing it.
Okay. Yeah, I know I end up calling you about I haven't received my taxes. And then I got a phone call from one of my clients, and she's an accountant, and she said, I haven't received my I haven't received my 2019 taxes either. I said, well, I'm not by myself, and it's not our problem. It's a government, delay. So
Yeah,
I
we
said, I don't feel bad.
Yeah, and so initially they were trying to do it based on what you filed, your tax return that was filed in 2018 and
Right.
2019, if you had already filed. But for those people who had not filed their 2019 yet, they went based on 2018 tax.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't file in those last 2 years, then you didn't get anything, but you get to claim it on your tax return this year. If
And
as long as you have filed 2018 and 2019 by now.
yeah. And when I asked her, she's somebody that I know, so I can ask her this. And
Right.
I asked her, I said, what was your holdup from your 2019 tax return? And it was the same reason of mine, which was the marketplace
Oh yeah,
insurance.
yeah, yeah. Yes, yes.
What you call
The
that?
the healthcare.gov. Yeah.
Yeah,
So a lot of people miss
yeah,
that. Whenever you get health insurance through the marketplace, ACA, Obamacare, however you refer to it, and you receive the actual advance credit that
right.
they allow you to get if you're eligible, but you have to do a reconciliation of that on your tax return. So they expect you to file a form, I believe it's 8962, to do that reconciliation. And they know, the IRS already knows that you got the credit.
Yes,
So
they
they're looking for that particular form. And if you don't have it, they're not going to process your return until they've done that reconciliation.
Yeah, and remember my incident was that I only had insurance for one
Right.
day, and
Right.
and then I had full coverage somewhere else, and I didn't file that form because showing that I had it for that one day, and that's what held up my tax
Yeah,
return.
you had a pretty unique situation because the healthcare.gov should have, if they charged you or paid a credit on your behalf, they should have still sent you the data to file the 8962. So
Right.
that's really the telltale story, because the only way the IRS knows that you should be filing that, they've already gotten the information or return from
Okay.
healthcare.gov.
Okay.
So that's another thing for people. Anything that an information or return is filed to the IRS from a third party, you don't get there's no way to get around reporting that
No.
data. They already know about it.
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
remember when I got the letter, I said, I don't understand really what this is about.
Oh
And then
yes, yes,
you
yes.
researched it for me, and you were like, Tina, there's a form you didn't give me. And I was like, no, I gave you everything. And then you pointed me in the right direction.
Right.
I called them, and they said, oh, yeah, we covered you for a day. And, I said, but you all didn't send me the form. They said, well, you can log into your
Right.
account and get the form. But
Exactly.
yeah, so people
Exactly.
really be careful and understand that
Right.
if you got covered for a day, you got covered for 10 days. Even if they don't send you the form, log into your account and make sure you give your tax preparer that document, because it will hold up your tax. And I
Right.
know that, and other people, it's happened to other people, so I'm not the only one.
And once you let your preparer know that and I don't know, everybody doesn't do it the same way, but I provide my clients with an organizer, which asks a series of questions, because most people's lives don't change that much from year to year, but then sometimes subtle changes, they don't realize they have a tax effect. So the organizer kind of helps ask those questions, and it will trigger for me that person should have a certain document to support whatever they said yes to.
Right.
So if your preparer doesn't provide that, then you need to make sure that they ask you some questions so that you will know what to provide them. Because if you're not a tax preparer, you generally don't know what you should provide, So they should provide you with a little bit of help in helping you identify what's needed.
And then remember, it's been a year since I've seen you. So I don't remember without that
That's
check.
right.
I don't remember what I gave you from year to year. So the checklist is very helpful. So I want to thank you for that.
My pleasure.
Yeah, everybody make sure if you have a question for Evelyn, we have 7 minutes left. If you have a question, please put it in the comments and we'll try to get your question answered. I want to ask you one more question, Evelyn.
Okay.
For a small business owner, how important is it for us to have a budget?
Oh, well, personally, I think you are your own business. So whether you have a formalized business or you're your own business, if you want to maximize the use of your money, you need to understand where money's coming from and where it's going and what your plan is. Your budget enables you to achieve your plan. So if you know that you have a specific financial goal by X date, you have to build a plan to get there. That budget is your plan, your guideline. If you don't have a plan, then you can't plan to succeed. You're just blowing in the wind. You're just out there hoping that things happen. You can't measure it. No. So a budget will enable you to measure what's happening in actuality versus how you planned it. But if you don't have a plan, you're just out there going, well, I got $35 left in my checkbook. If I add that to next month, because next month I'm gonna do, well, you don't know what you're gonna do because you haven't set any goals. You know what you got coming in, but you're not managing how you're spending it. Right. So whether it's your personal life or your business, a budget is your plan to get to your goal. So I hope I answered that question.
Yep, you did. We have one more question that came in. It says, in your experience, are there any particular systems you would recommend having in place for a small but growing business?
So when you say systems, you're not necessarily talking about a financial system, which that would be one of the things that I would implement as part of the system. But you should have an idea, and even if you haven't done a full-blown business plan, because as a starting business, you're just starting up. You may not even be sure about what you want to do, but you should at least try to be knowledgeable about the product or service, that you're offering. Then you want to plan on how you're going to market yourself or target your audience, because there's no need in me talking to people that's not interested in what I'm selling. Right. So you need to know who your audience is. And then you definitely have to have a good financial record keeping system, whether it be a QuickBooks or whether it be Excel. I mean, honestly, Excel is powerful enough to help a small new business. It's enough. If you can put stuff in a spreadsheet, and accountants love Excel, so I might talk about Excel a lot, but Excel is one of the most dynamic tools for me that Microsoft offers. Outlook is great, all of those are great, but for a business person, Excel, you can do so many things in Excel. Track your stuff in Excel. You can create tabs and have them roll into and create your financial statement. So at a minimum, be knowledgeable about how to compile your data, and then be knowledgeable about what the requirements are to do business in the community that you serve. Most of the time, the government always wants to get money, so you might have to have a business license. Even as a CPA, I did business for years just on my license because that was my license. But the minute I started doing business with the government, they determined that I had to have an official business license from the county.
Oh, wow.
For no other reason, guys, this is just my opinion, is because the government has to generate revenue. I get that. So, and they do it based on your gross receipts. So the more money, they don't care about your gross profit. You could have made $1 million and ended up with a profitable, a loss. They don't care. They base their revenues off of your gross receipts, your gross revenue, what you've taken in.
Wow. Evelyn, we got one more question that came in.
Okay.
It says, is there a difference in organizing an LLC versus a sole proprietor, or are they basically the same? That's a good question.
That's an excellent question. So, no, they're not the same. For tax purposes, they may be treated the same depending on how many members you have as an LLC. But an LLC provides you with limited liability versus a sole proprietorship. It doesn't provide you with any limited liability. So that means if anything goes wrong and you get sued or your business gets sued, they can go after you personally. So that's the main difference in an LLC and a sole proprietor. They're very close. When you're a single member LLC, you're considered a disregarded entity for tax purposes. So whenever you decide to choose an entity, you're making a decision on two things: legal liability and taxation. So C corporations will afford you the worst of tax situations because you get double taxed at the corporate level and taxed at the individual level for any distributions you make. A partnership and an LLC taxed as a partnership has only one layer of taxation because all the income flows through to you as an individual. If it's a partnership, it'll flow through on the K-1 from the informational return from the partnership. So the partnership would file a Form 1065 and give you your portion, which is a K-1, and you report that on your Schedule E of your 1040. S corporation is very similar, except that they're a corporation with flow-through tax for taxation purposes, flow-through on profit. So you have to be very careful about the entity that you choose when you decide to venture out from a sole proprietor and become one of those other entities. But the thing you're going to consider most in whatever entity you choose is how you're going to be taxed and how you're going to limit your liability.
Okay, how you going to be taxed, and how you going to limit your liability?
Yeah, yes. And S corporations used to be really, really popular because LLCs for a long time differed from state to state, but now they're pretty standard. So most people have gotten away from S corps and they're just forming LLCs.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. But
Okay.
but if you really get, and it's probably not going to be applicable to a lot of us, but there's some limitations in becoming an S corp versus an LLC is more restrictive. So that's another reason why LLCs have become more popular.
Well, thank you so much for answering that question, Evelyn. Thank you for being my awesome guest today. It's been, oh, you have given us so many nuggets. And again, knowledge is power, but applied knowledge brings transformation. And so the purpose is for us to bring the knowledge, and we just hope that the viewers have gotten nuggets that they can apply.
Yes, ma'am.
It's 8:00. We're at the end of tonight's show. We would like to thank everybody for joining in. Make sure that you like and share, and tell everybody we are on every Wednesday at 7:00. Happy holidays to you and your family, and we are out.
And make sure to get your brand.
True Blue Designs.
That's right.
Thank you, Evelyn.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate it. Hope everybody enjoyed it.
I did too.